I'm going to go from exact opposite to Sir before me, and I'm going to talk about how small can be beautiful. And I have worked as an activist all my life. So a social entrepreneur, a social activist. The values that have guided my work have been all the value of equality. That is, we're talking about caste, class, religion. We're talking about gender. Then I talk about passion. I think you cannot work without passion. Then I talk about masti. I think you cannot work about masti. I don't understand how people go for a corporate job or a government job, excuse me everyone here, but and say that, "Arey bahut bore ho ke aa gaye, din bhar bore ho gaye." I think that you have to really enjoy your work. I believe in depth also. I've not been a big scale person. I believe in working in depth. Slowly, surely, making something beautiful. So I started 14 saal pehle in a place called Chitrakoot. I don't know how many of you have heard about it, but Chitrakoot and Banda were the badlands of UP and part of Bundelkhand, also where Ram spent 14 years of his exile. And Ram Bhagwan ka exile tha, Ram, Sita, Lakshman, for 14 years, and me too, 14 years in Chitrakoot and Banda, from 1990 to 2004. I worked with women's leadership, building women's leadership, building Dalit and Muslim women to come into leadership in their communities because they were the most marginalized people in their villages, and also working with violence against women, because that we thought was the basis, that if you can't have a life free of violence, you cannot then move on. You cannot get mobility, you cannot get decision making, you can't do anything else. So I worked with women. We did like 350 violence cases a year, and I built a local leadership and an organization called One Angana, Forest Mein Angan. Some of the things we did was 100 women took the Manrega funds and built a tank, only women. They were women hand pump mechanics, repairing the pumps of the whole area. And then I built a leadership of local women, because I was not a role model. I grew up in Calcutta. I studied in Lady Shri Ram College in Delhi, and then I went to New York and came back and went to Banda and Chitrakoot just as my field work, as a lot of us do who have been very privileged. I was not a role model. I'd had all the privileges to make a lot of decisions, to be a single woman, to be in Chitrakoot and Banda, to even make friends with dacoits who supported us, government people who supported us. And we needed local role models, women who'd come out of that struggle, out of that violence, to lead the way. And so when I left from there, because I believe in changing leadership, there are 4 local people, and the organization has been running for 30 years and still carries on doing all the work. And I need another TED talk to completely go into detail about that. I came to Lucknow. I chose Lucknow as my home. Mera pyara Lucknow. Punjaban who became like a Lucknow wali. थोड़ा सा लखनऊ वालों को हिलाना डुलाना पड़ता है. And I think you need someone from outside, because I realized that Lucknow had, besides the beautiful architecture and the language and the tehzeeb, but in the sanduks of every home, Lucknow had a whole lot of things, whether it was clothes, but most important, it was stories. People had so many stories, and Lucknow was made of stories. And I think culture is made of stories also. The cultural, being a cultural activist, what is it? How do you become a cultural activist? Remember the words I said. Your perspective and your values have to lead your work. So we started a festival called the Mahendra Sanatkada Lucknow Festival. I don't know how many of you know about it. And the Mahendra Sanatkada Lucknow Festival started as a very small crafts bazaar 17 years ago. Today it has expanded to something which which has a 15,000 footfall every single day. You have what you have in a mela. Why did we make this festival Mela Numa? There were many festivals happening all over the country, and you must have heard of many literary festivals, many much more famous festivals than ours. But how do you make a festival rooted in the city? How do you make it accessible to all kinds of people? So you know the Budakki Ka Mela, as a lot of people are from Lucknow, that's been going on for years and years and years. The same way, we decided to make a mela that was rooted in the city. So what all do we have to make a mela exciting? You have to have food, you have to have craft, you have to have addebazi. But everybody likes to meet people they know, they like to come dressed up, and they like to also, of course, explore the city at the same time. So we tried to combine all of this and had in Lucknow what we called a theme of the festival. Now remember again, equality. So if you take crafts, so it's not only about the beautiful crafts pieces and us watching the craftspersons making the pieces. We documented the crafts, a lot of dyeing crafts like tukri, which joins pieces together of cloth, which was dyeing in Lucknow. There was kamdani, there was even just making the chandi ka work, which was dyeing in Lucknow. You brought all that craft, but not simply in the marketplace. You also brought the stories of the craftspersons. In their voices, we documented hundreds of craftspeople. We put the videos up on YouTube. And I mean, I'm talking about all over the years. And those craftspersons' voices along with the market and the beautiful craft. So the chikankari sari I'm wearing or any other craft you get in the market, you have no idea who the person is, from which mohalla they come, what was their story, and why did this make this piece of beauty. Same way with food. You all go to Tunde Kebab, you go to Vajpayee Puri, you go to, Radhilal, but you don't know the stories behind them. Did they come here for 40 years ago? How did they put up this khuncha? What is this pani batasha we like, and what is the recipe behind it? So the whole point is that you have to know everything, about whatever you experience, you have to know something about the whole story behind it. And I think that is what we tried to bring to everyone. Performances, we brought back things like Bedbazi, which is Antakshari in poetry. And the leadership of this whole, so every year we had a theme. So Pehnava was one year. This last year was Lucknow-Calcutta connection. Feminists of our, Gali Kucha of Lucknow. We had, the Bawarchi Khane of Lucknow. We had Rihaish, the homes of Lucknow. And that is what rooted the festival in the community and in the city. You cannot pick up Mahendra Sanatkada Lucknow Festival and just take it to another city. It's not just a string of performances. It's not a string of events. There's a story behind everything that we do, and the story is shared to everyone. And I'm telling you because the story was in the festival. So 5-day Jashan, where everyone did a lot of masti. Masti, remember? Masti is also important. And then we documented this oral history, and now we're putting it up as an online museum. It's already there on Google. And also we have one gallery. Remember, it's a people's museum. It remembers that all communities are represented, all religions are there. It's the Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb of Lucknow, and that's what guided us. So being a cultural activist, when we started the festival and when we've come up to now, we all know that there's a lot of discrimination, caste, religion. It hasn't finished, it's increased. So the festival, in a very mazedar way, you can't say discrimination is mazedar, but it just brought everyone together for everyone to remember that this was the way we lived. This is possible. This is part of our tehzeeb, our culture, our life. And when we eat food on the street, this is what we experience every day, whether we go to Vajpayee Puri again, or Shukla Chaat, or we go to Rahim. We do that, the same people, the same visitors, the same Lucknowwalas. So the whole thing about our cultural activism was not to take head on anything, but to just say that it's possible to be together, to live together the way we've done. And in today's world, we've become so polarized in the world. So now we have this cultural museum also, and we have, to add to it, I will say that our leadership, initially the festival had a 70% people that were older than 60, older than 50, and they would come to the festival because it was full of nostalgia. Hamara Lucknow aise hota tha. We were like this. But today there is 70% of Gen Z who's there. So Gen Z is also enjoying it along with the way they enjoy their malls. There's another option for them, because past and present has to go together. And in fact, this time, I don't know how many of you saw the many reels that were made, and Gen Z put out a theme which said that dress ethnic, come to Sanatkada, experience Lucknowiyat. This is what we felt we did. If we brought the culture to the younger people, and I couldn't do it alone, it was my team. My team is less than 30 now. We have advisors who are older, who've been friends of Sanatkada, but my whole team is less than 30, represented of all religions and all castes. The team has to be of that also, and the festival has to be of that. And my life doing this activism has to also be the same. So I have been believing in equality. I'm a single mother, a single biological mother of a child, because I believe that a woman can have a child on her own. I also have a foster family of about 22 children of all religions, one who's sitting in the audience, and so there's Muslim, there's Dalit, there's Christian, there's boys, there's girls, and they all have lived together in my home. A lot of them come from Bundelkhand. And to show that I'm not just talking about it in a 5-day jashan. It's possible at home also. And it's possible to live like that. And if you are brought up like that, like a lot of people were brought up with their neighbors and their friends and their families, then you will not have the same walls that we seem to be creating today. So for me, this writing, and the point is that if we don't know about what our families brought us, we don't know, and what happens often, our family histories finish like in maybe 2 generations. You don't even know what your Pardada did, what he felt, what recipes he cooked, how did he behave at home, what he wore. We don't preserve that. So the same way, if we don't preserve the oral history of the city, because it's not only the buildings and the food, it's like I said, the stories coming out of people. So that is what has to come together, and so that even young people can take both. So if they liked making reels during the festival, and the older people kind of said, ye to reels hi banate hain, But it's fine. That's the way they're taking the culture ahead. And the older people are taking it, and it can all be in the same space. And obviously, the parents felt this was a safe space for them. And I do believe in team. I believe that you cannot just highlight yourself. You have to be behind everybody. You have to do that. So my team is ready to take the festival ahead, because after 62, any day, anything can happen. And so I feel that I have to be in my personal life just the way that I want my public life to be. And we have to create spaces, all of us, to again bring that beautiful culture of this city and many other cities, to make it alive, and just not make it one performance, one food item, one outfit we wear for a wedding. It has to be all part of our everyday lives. So with that, I'd like to tell you, please come for our festival, whether you live here or from outside of the place. And it'll be there maybe for the next 100 years, the way the Budakki Ka Mela is. And remember, personal is political. And just think about it. Personal is the politics you believe in. That vision must be reflected in all your work. And everything you do, just show yourself that mirror, because every life and the way we lead our lives is so important for change. Change cannot happen without that. Every simple bit that we do and we do around has to be part of that change. And I love Gen Z, and I know that they're going to take it across, because I've had a wonderful experience at the festival, and we older people have to give up leadership the way it has to be rotating. Thank you so much.